I seem to have frozen. My video is frozen, but I haven't. My voice hasn't, at least. There we go. I'm back. No way, I'm back. Right. Right. So I'm going to show you my Postman app. Postman. I'm going to show you the right thing. Right. So this is Postman, and it looks rather intimidating. Essentially, all it is this is what we're going to. This is the address of what we're going to be looking at. It's a URL, and if we go to this page, we get a block of text that essentially looks like this at the bottom here. Now that is a lot of text, and it looks very intimidating. Now this is a file format called JSON, or JSON, depending on your accent, and basically it's just a load of data. But actually, if you look carefully, you can sort of work out what some of the data is. So, for example, we have lat, which is showing the latitude here. We have another keyword long, or longitude, which is the longitude. We have a time zone there, and so you can see how each bit of data is split by these commas, and then so you have a block of data here. So this is our, we've got a name, we've got a key, which is time zone offset, and we've got a value. And you can see also, if you look carefully at all the different values, we've got different data types. So this one doesn't have speech marks around it, because this is an integer. But this one, for example, does. This is a string, and you can see that with the speech marks. So already you can kind of see how what we've already been learning is, coming into play today. I'm going to see if I can make the text a bit bigger. In fact, something I can quickly do. Not there.
So can you remind me how to get onto Python?
Yeah, sure. So we're just opening up Python idle or IDE, depending on what it's called on your computer. And then you should get something that will look like. I would show you, but my computer won't do it. There we go. You'll get something that looks a bit like this. And in that case, what you're going to do is just do press Control N if you're on Windows, or Command N, and you'll get something that looks like this, just a blank document for you to write on. So yeah, make sure you've got Python open. We'll be using it in just a second. But yeah, so I'm trying to set up my OBS so that it's ready for when I need it. So, and Postman, hopefully. There we go.
Is that in the internet browser?
What's that? Sorry, the Python.
Yeah.
I know it's on. It should be on your computer because hopefully you've downloaded it. Python is what we downloaded.
Okay, thanks.
So that's where you're writing all of your software. I am just showing off the Postman, which is an app that you don't need to get. If you're working with APIs a lot, then I would recommend you get it because you're able to see the data and you can use this feature called Pretty, so you can actually read it a bit easier. So yeah, this is what the API is sending us. All of this massive chunk of data, which is in this case 1,400 lines. Now, obviously, we're not going to read all of that, and we're going to get our Python to read that and pick out the bits that it needs. And you can actually see up here, we're actually excluding some of the data. Right, so let's start writing our code. So essentially, what we're wanting to do is we want some code that we want some code that actually makes that API request, so it actually asks another server for data, and that same module will ask for will interpret that data and collect it. We want a module called JSON, which is basically the file format that the data is being sent in, and that module will decode it all in a way that the Python is actually able to read. We are going to want the tkinter, which we looked at a little bit a few weeks ago, and that will help us to display it in a nicer way so we can have images and colors and so on, which you can't really have in just standard Python. We're going to import the OS module, which I think we talked about last week, which allows us to read files that we've actually got already on our computer. And we're going to import a module called base64, which will take image data and allow us to display an image from online. So we're going to import all of those. So we're going to need to create two files. One of them I'm going to send to you. And it is a file called .env. Let me upload that to you now. Is everyone able to see the chat in the voice channel? If you're in the classroom channel, you just look to the right. Hopefully you can all see that, because I'm going to send a file in there. I will need you to save that file. So I'm trying to find where the file is saved. Computer science, Python. And it is that one. Oh no, that's not in the wrong format. Okay, right. Instead, open up a text editor, so maybe Notepad if you're on Windows, or Text Edit if you're on a Mac. And I will send you what you will need to write in that file. Has everyone got a text editor open? I didn't start the event. Yeah, either text edit or Notepad. And you will need to save it as a file called .env. Nothing should be before the dot. Just .env, and your computer will give you a warning saying only some files are allowed to have this name. That's fine. Ignore that. Go ahead with it. And that's just a bit of extra data that that can be changed by a particular user if they need functionality changing. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm not sure what you want me to open up. I have a Mac,
Yeah.
and I was going into notes, but that's not where you want me to be.
No, there's another app called Text Edit, which looks like the Notes app. If you're in Launchpad, there's a search bar at the top, and you can use that to type in Text Edit, and it should come up. What about you, B? Have you got an app like that open?
Okay.
Okay. So you're going to copy and paste the text that I've sent, the temp unit bit, paste that into your text edit document, and save that document as .env. Make sure you remember where you saved it, because you're going to put your Python file in the same place in just a second.
I'm really sorry, I'm struggling to navigate around these different screens.
Okay.
And now cannot see your
It
chat.
should be in the browser. Are you able to see me?
I can see you.
Okay. So on the top right, there's like a little chat bubble. Very top right.
Okay.
That says show chat. Click that.
Okay, so this temp unit is
Yeah.
the one that you want to copy.
Yeah, up to the end of the line. And the data you're putting in there is a preference for your for what unit you want in your temp to show your what unit you want Python to show the temperature in. So when the data comes to us, it's in a unit called Kelvin, which is a scientific unit. It's about 260-ish above Celsius. So freezing or 0 degrees is, I think, 264. I think I might be wrong, but it's about 200 degrees. So if you wanted it to be K in Kelvin, then you change the C to a K. If you wanted it to be in Fahrenheit, then you would change the C to an F. But obviously it won't do anything yet because we haven't written a program. And then the none are fairly self-explanatory. We're going to leave it like that for now, just so that we're not revealing any personal data. If anyone wanted to try it out, you'll find that it leads to, I can't remember whether I did Tower Bridge or London Bridge, but it's somewhere in London. Yeah, leave it as that for now. Just so that we're not revealing any personal information or anything. And then when you've done that, let me know and we can move on to writing a Python file. Have you done that? JRD there?
Okay, I've copied and pasted that into the link you sent me to, and I've given that a file name.
Yeah, so that should be called .env.
Okay.
Is that saved?
Uh-huh.
Did you get a warning or anything?
Hold on. I think I've done that wrong. So where is it to be? Can it be saved in documents?
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it's saved.
Okay, you didn't get a warning or anything?
No.
Okay, that's generally a sign that it's not saved right. If you go into text edit, if you look at the top of where the name is at the top of the window, in the window bar, it should say .env. Does it say .env.txt or something like that?
Oh, no, I called it Discord
No,
temp.env.
no, it has to be called .env.
Oh. Okay.
Okay,
If
if
we
you
can rename that.
close the text edit and go into your Finder, into the into your documents where you saved it, then you can right click that file and rename it that way.
Sorry. So I've changed the file name to .env.
Within
it
text
says
edit. Okay, yeah.
it says names that begin with a dot are reserved for the system.
Yeah, that's good. So press to use it or whatever it says. You want to go ahead with that.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I've done that.
Cool. Good. So then, let's get on to writing our Python. And again, we want to open our blank version of Python, not the one that looks like this. We want the blank version, because that's where you write all of our code. And we can save this. I don't know what you want to save it as, but make sure it is saved in the same place as wherever you've just put the .env file. And that's really important, otherwise your Python won't be able to read that file that we've got. So I'm just going to save mine in the same place too. One. And it doesn't matter so much what you call the Python file. It doesn't really matter. Just it has to be in the same folder as the .env that we've just saved. Now, as I was saying earlier, we need to have a number of modules that we're importing. So, for example, we're going to need to have we're going to need to import JSON, which again is the file format that we're getting. We're going to need to import requests. In fact, if everyone can run that now, just to be sure that we actually have requests installed. And if you get something that just looks like that, where it's not actually giving you anything, then that's good. If you've got any red text, let me know now. Remember, this is what your file should look like. Oh, that didn't change. OBS, come on. That's the code that you should have. That's not working. Why aren't you working? There we go. Nope. That is the wrong thing entirely. Like that. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so can everyone run just that? What have you got, Jay? What's come out for you?
I can't see your screen, so I'm not able to copy.
Oh, you should be able to see it now. Just go back into Discord. back to your web browser.
Is it import JSON?
Yeah,
Import requests?
yeah. You just need those 2 lines and just run them to make sure that's working fine. And again, remembering to press Command R to run it on a Mac or F5 to run it on Windows.
Sorry, Command R?
I
No,
believe so, yeah.
Command R is to find, finder.
Oh, you should be in Python.
Controller?
No, it should be Command R. Are you clicked on Python?
I think so. Let's try again. On the plain screen,
Yeah.
where we just typed in the import.
Mm-hmm.
If I do Command R, it comes up with the find and replace command.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. How have you run your programs in the past?
I
What
haven't
button did
been
you
able
press?
to.
Oh,
Haven't
okay.
been able.
Alright. In that case, try going up to the top of... Oh, is that in Mac? Let me double check. So at the top, where there's the file, edit, format, and run, press the run and then run module.
Okay, source must be saved. Okay to
Oh yeah,
save.
make sure you save it in the same place as the EMV.
Okay. Most recent call list.
Does it say
Line
anything about
2
requests?
module import requests.
It says import requests, okay. Right, in that
Module
case,
found error.
yeah, okay. In that case, I am going to very quickly teach you how to install requests. Install request. What you need to do is go back into Launchpad. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. And there's a bit of so in Launchpad, go into Terminal. Yeah, Terminal. It's called Terminal on Mac. Again, you can search for that at the top. Oopsie.
Okay.
And come back into Discord, and I've just sent another message that says pip install requests. If you copy and paste that into the terminal, because you're on a Mac. If you're on Windows, it's a different command.
Ah, copy and paste that into the
Into the terminal,
uh,
which you just opened up.
the plain one.
Not Python, the terminal. Did you
Like
go
I
into
say,
Launchpad and open?
something. I've got so many things overlapping on my screen.
Yeah.
I think that's different from the EMV. Okay.
It should be a sort of black
That's
icon.
different from the idle shell.
Yeah, it's a black icon. And it will probably be near to the right because you've just opened it up.
Oh, hold on, is it in download?
No, it's not in downloads. It'll be in the dock at the bottom of the screen. It's just an app.
Okay, so I've got our Discord open.
Yeah,
I've got the Python,
yeah,
idle shell,
yeah,
and the one where we're doing the typing. I've got the env that we saved,
yeah.
and I've got a bash.
It's called Bash. Okay.
Is that it? The
What is
default
the...
interactive shell to update your account. Use
Nope, that
run.
doesn't sound right.
Yeah, what's
Okay.
that one?
I'm going to... I'm not sure. I'm going to go... I'm going to share my screen quickly. If you go back into Discord just so that you can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'm in the terminal
I have
here.
to break out the other screens, otherwise you're too small for me to see what you're doing.
Okay. You should just click on the browser. So you use Chrome, don't you? So just click on Chrome and everything else will be hidden behind it.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Sort of.
Okay. Is my
Comment.
video in a small box?
Yeah. You've got I can see your screen now, and then you've got a small screen in your screen. Or when you're jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
It's
So
like 15 screens opening up.
yeah. But you can see where the big screen is here, right? We've got a big, rather than something like this.
Right. So I've got everybody in the group at the
Everyone's at the
bottom,
bottom.
the people in this classroom. I've got something on down the right side, comments and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I've got you sort of mid-screen.
Alright, that's fine. As long as I'm in the middle of the screen. Right. So if you go into the launchpad and you go up here to the search and you type in terminal, and you should have an icon that looks like this. I need you to open that up and paste what you copied into that.
Hold on, I think I've got that.
And it will look like that.
Listen, I've gone into Launchpad and now I've lost you.
That's fine. Go into launchpad and at the top type in terminal.
So I had I think that was the terminal,
It
because
says bash.
that picture that you had
Yeah.
is what I've got on my screen.
Okay, that's fine.
There's
That's
a
fine
drop
then.
down, and when you open it up, it's called Bash.
Okay, that's fine. Alright
Bash
then. In that case,
80-24.
copy in what you pasted. So it'll be pip install requests.
Okay.
And press enter.
It says command net found.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, that's going to be a problem. I had a feeling it didn't sound right. There's not much I can do from my end. Okay. In that case, I will send you a backup. Oh no. If I do that, then I'm writing two different programs. Alright, I'm going to try and go on with the class, and if I can help you, I will. But, yeah, there's not much I can do from my end here, unfortunately. That's a shame, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so we're importing multiple modules here. One of them, as I was saying, is tkinter. Import tkinter. We're going to import OS. We're going to import URL lib. Import URL lib. We'll see. And import base 64. Is that all of them? And we're going to copy, we're going to write down from .env, import load.env, and this bit of code here. Now, this will get the env file that we just wrote and read the data on that and save them as variables that we'll use later on. I'm going to send you I don't think anyone's able to follow along at this point. No one's able to follow along. Alright, in that case, since no one's able to follow along, I'll do what I was doing while I was writing a program. It works in a different way. So we're not actually going to refer directly to the API, but we're going to act as though we have and we've gotten the data. So we're going to already have some data installed or on our device. Already, we're not going to make that request to the server, unfortunately, because that's just not going to work for us. 819, checking that's the same. Yeah. Alright then, so copy all of that and paste it into there. Then you can upload it. Right, so I'm going to send you a file called weather.json. And yeah, again, this is the sort of data that you would be sent by the server. And now we're just going to have to decode it. So, here's what we're going to do. In our Python, we can now get... Now we'll leave everything as is for now. Just because it's easier. Is there any other modules you have to import just for this file? No, okay. We'll ignore all of that because we're not making the request. We don't need that because again we're not making a request. But we will be opening a file. And we're going to call the variable file. And we're going to open the file and it is called weather.json. Now the weather.json file should be saved in the same folder as the Python and the .env file. And we're going to open our file in the Python, or we're going to tell Python to open a file. That's the wrong one. It should be a read format. So remember R for read. It's not W because we're not writing any data. It's not A because we're not appending any data. It's just R because we're reading. And we're going to create a variable called response. Let's see. Which equals, did I do that right? JSON.load. So now we're making use of the JSON module here. At the top. Oh, you can't see it, sorry. You were meant to be able to see that. There we go. Right, so, go over that again. We're importing the JSON module request. We don't need to request anymore. The tkinter os url lib base 64. I'm writing down this line, these two lines, and then we're opening the file. We're doing file equals open weather.json r, and we're saving that as JSON load. So we're using the JSON module to load it. Oops. And again, so we're telling the Python to use the load function from the JSON module, and we're loading the file, which is this file here that we just opened, and we're going to save that JSON in a variable called response. I know I'm going fast, but we took longer than we expected to by this point. If you can try and I'll try and explain as I go, but I'll explain at the end as well. We're going to do we're going to call this variable x to make it easier. Just because that's what I've called it later on. Now, we're going to create a TK into a window. Now remember, that's a window that gives us our GUI essentially. And to do that, we're going to create a variable called root. And it will be root equals TK into dot TK. We're going to do we'll do that a bit later because that's not the important bit. The important bit is creating the labels. I will quickly explain all the labels. I'm going to copy and paste to save time. What I'll do is, don't worry if you're not going to type it now, because I'll send it to you because I'm trying to save time here. We've got our window, our TK into window. We've got a label which we're just going to give the variable name my label. It doesn't really matter what it's called. I'm using the TK into module again to create a label, and it's going to be in our root window, our TK into window here. The text is going to be weather, and we've got our font size as well, which is Arial, and 25 pt, or it might be px, I'm not sure what unit it uses. I'm going to get rid of this quickly because we don't need it right now, and I'll explain it later. And then we've got my label place, and this is basically where the object will be, the text label will be placed. And I will do a root.main loop in order to show the window. Now, if you run it at this point, you get it. Oh dear. You can't see it. Window. TK. Move it across down here. Copy. Oh, that's big. Let's shrink that down just a bit. And you can see our window here. So we've got our window, and it's got the text weather on it. So now we can write some more, create more text labels. We're going to make our window a bit bigger because we're going to run out of space very quickly if we do this. And the way we do that is by doing root.configure, and it's going to be height. No, is it? Geometry. Root.geometry, sorry, not configure. And this is going to set how high, the height and the width of the window that's going to come up. So then we've got more space to work with. We're also going to create a variable called background color. And in this case, it is going to be this color, which I made earlier and thought looked quite nice. Now if I run it again, you will be able to see that it didn't work. What did I do wrong? Oh, no, that shouldn't be why. Oh, because I didn't put in the configure. Root.configure in order to make it change the, set the color. There we go. And now, it didn't work. Well, you can't see it. Sorry, I know we're having trouble with OBS again. Yeah, put it up here. And hopefully you'll be able to see it. There we go. So that's our window that we're making. You can see that it's changed the color to blue. And it's 800 pixels by 800, which should give us plenty of space to work. We're going to create more text. We are going to take a look again at what data is in your JSON file, which looks a little something like all of this. And yes, it's a lot, but you can see that there's this current, we've got an hourly, and we've got a daily. Now we're just going to work with current for today, and we're going to put that in its own variable. We're going to create a variable called current, and set it to X, which is our data, and current like that. So this is going to get everything inside of here, all of this data. So it's going to get the date time, it's going to get the sunrise, the sunset, the temperature, and etc. All of that is going to be stored in a variable called current. We are going to create an image, a label with the temperature, so with today's temperature. The way we do that is we're doing the same as what we did here. I'm just going to copy and paste it to save time. And we're going to change the text to, we're going to create a variable called temp, which is equal to current, and call it, again, we're going to look back to our data that our API sent, and our data here, the key is called temp. So we're going to copy that and put it here, and what that means, temp, is that we will get the value. You can't see it again. What on earth is my OBS doing? I'm really sorry about this. It's just not having it today. Yeah. So we've got our temp. We're going to plus, so we're adding text to the end of a variable. Trying to find it. Oh, we need to set it to a string. So we're going to use this, right there, so that it can be printed. plus the temp unit, which can be found in our env file. We're going to copy it. That's our temp unit. Now stored. We'll get rid of it for the sake of it, just to try and keep our lines down. So this, remember, is getting all of our env files, all the env variables rather, using the OS module, and our OS module, the variable in the env file is called temp unit. And then we're going to change this to say temp, so it's going to output all of this. So now if we run it again, we've now got it saying the temperature. Now you will notice that is very, very hot. The reason is we are copying the data direct from the API, which is in Kelvin, which, as I was saying, is about 200 odd degrees hotter. And so, we need to convert that using what we've got in the env file. We're going to create a variable. We're going to change the variable name rather of current.temp. And we're going to call this raw temp, as in the raw temperature, or the temperature according to the raw data rather. And we are going to copy and paste this. Now, get rid of that, sorry. Oh no. Yeah, that is right. So, if the temp unit in the env file is C, then we're going to need to convert it from Kelvin to Celsius, which is raw temperature, or Kelvin minus 273.15. And that will be, the temperature in Celsius. So that's how much higher the scale is. We'll do the same calculation for Fahrenheit. It's raw temperature. So this is now Celsius, because you'll notice it's the same as Celsius. And then we're times by 9 divided by 5, which is, I'm not entirely sure, and adding 32. So that's the formula to convert it from Celsius to Fahrenheit, this bit. And so if you want it in Fahrenheit, that's how you would set it to be in Fahrenheit. And then if it's anything else, we'll leave it as Kelvin, but we'll assign the temp unit as K, so that when we're able to say that this is what the unit is, it's not just a big massive block of that big massive number that no one's expecting. We're also going to move this down a bit, so we're going to set this to 50. Sometimes this is just about trial and error, to be honest. Figuring out where exactly you want it. We also want the text to be smaller, because that is massive. We'll set it to 18. And there's an error in my code apparently. If temp unit is equal to C. Again, just making sure that temp unit, we haven't actually defined it. So temp unit, yeah, we did. I thought we did. Apparently not. So temp unit. I did. Did I accidentally delete it? Oh yeah. So that's this bit here, remember. For os.get env, and then the key, which is temp unit. Right, try running that again. And I've got a... What's happened here? Why is it not showing? Oh, that should probably be 5. I think it's actually going off the page. Label place. Yeah, get rid of the anchor. We don't need that. We'll set this to 20. And we'll set this to 50. Let's see if that works for us. Nope. Place. Exit search. You should at the very least be able to see it. String is currently empty. Oh, that should be, I don't remember removing that. Am I getting crazy? That should be set to temperature. That should be showing. That's good, that's good. There we go. So now you can see it. My OBS has decided not to show the right thing again. There we go. Now, we've got the temperature, which currently in London is 10 degrees. And using that same principle, we're able to copy and paste this so that we can have it showing other data. So, for example, I think we had humidity coming to the API under current. Yeah, humidity. So we can change this. Yeah, copy this. Current dot humidity. Not dot, current square bracket humidity. Again, we'll leave it as it is just for simplicity. It doesn't really matter because we're done with the temperature variable now. It's already been placed, so we can rename the or reuse that same variable. Remove this because that's no longer relevant. Humidity. I probably should have moved it so it's slightly lower. 40, make that 100. And we're going to make it smaller. And then you can begin to see this app taking shape. Because we're showing humidity, we probably should have done plus percentage sign. That's a humidity. But we can add labels to say what it is we're looking at. For humidity. We're going to round. You'll notice that this is a massive number, or it's a lot of decimal points. We don't need that many decimal points, so we're going to round it. Which we can do outside of the if statement here, and do temperature equals temperature dot round. Have I done that right? No, I haven't. I had a feeling I didn't. It's actually round brackets. Put the first keyword as the variable that we're changing, comma, and the number of decimal points. So we'll have 1 for now. So this will round it to 1 decimal place. So reassigning rather, the variable And there we go, we can see that there's just the one decimal place. You choose which mouse to follow. But yeah, there's just one decimal place there. 10.4 now. It's been rounded. Now, we're beginning to run out of time. But you can see quite quickly how you can, if you use this link up here, you're getting lots of data, all of this data here. And basically you can use that to see how to see what other data you can get. So we can get the dew point. Or if we're not looking at the current, we can look ahead to the forecast bit, to the hourly. So hourly is made up of an array. So for the first hour, you might type something like, we're looking at the second hour. Let's get some data for the second hour just to finish this off. Or be one of the last things that we do. We're going to call the variable hour temp, and that will be x. Remember, that's all the data that we have stored. Yeah, x, and it's in the hourly bit, and we're going to get the hourly is an array, and we're going to get the second one inside of the array. So we're going to put number 1, because remember in programming we count from 0, not 1. Put in that. Make sure there's no speech marks because this is an array. And we get to number 1. We get to the second one, the array. And then we're going to do temp. So that will get the value of the temp in the second object in the array of hourly. And again, doing the same here. We'll copy and paste this bit. Do that. We'll change these to say raw hour temp. Copy and paste this bit as well. Make sure to change it. Now hour temp, that should be hour temp as well. Okay. And we want a label. Just to say that, this is temperature in an hour. I will just put it here. Just something simple. In an hour plus the string temperature. Let's put that to a test. Oh, you can't see that. What is my OBS doing? I ask it to do one thing and it does something entirely different. There we go. But again, you can see what I've just typed in. And we can run that. And we get... I should have moved it down. Yeah. So in an hour, it'll be 10.3 degrees. We can see that it's different data, which just proves to us that it's getting the data from in an hour, and we can double check by going into our API and seeing that in an hour, the temperature will be that, but that's Kelvin. I forgot that. But yeah, we'll assume that's right. Now, it does look rather ugly having these colours here, different colours to the background. So we're going to change that quickly by going into each of these labels and using the configure my label dot configure, and we're going to set the background color to the variable that we had earlier, which is background color. Let's work like that. So background equals background color, and if we run again, our in and out label should change to match the. There we go. It now matches the rest of the background, so it's a bit easier to. It's less harsh on the eyes. We can change the background color here if we wanted to make it a bit lighter, for example, so it's a bit easier to read. So I might change this to E, this to 9, and this to 8. And hopefully there'll be a bit of a difference. There we go, you can see it's subtly lighter. And it's slightly easier to read. And I can copy and paste that line of text that we just had for my label configure for all of these. Again, so it's easier to read. All of these notes telling me to add a background color later. Oops. That one too. And I think that's all of them. We run it again. Now all of our text doesn't have a harsh white around it. If we were to open up our env file again, then what we would get is we can change the temp unit to F, and so if we run it again and save that, we get it in degrees Fahrenheit, so it's 50. And if we change it to Kelvin or K and run it once more, then we get a file that does not show on OBS. Why? There we go. Then it shows in Kelvin. So yeah, you can, copy and paste these, and you'll be able to get lots of data. So a lot of APIs charge for their services, which is understandable. This is great in that it doesn't cost anything. Provided that you stay within the rate limits of about 1,000 a minute, I think. No, 1,000 a day actually is what it is. You can have that many requests made. I was really worried in case we got loads and loads of people in, and we used up all of our rate limiting. But thankfully that didn't happen. But yeah. So that's OBS. That's not OBS. That's getting data. That's APIs. Again, let me show you how an API actually looks in terms of the URL. So again, if you're using APIs a lot, I would recommend using Postman. It's a great little app. So we're able to put in our different keys, as they're called. So our app ID or API key, they're called the same thing. So that's what allows you to have a permission. Without that, most APIs won't work at all. You will usually need to sign up, sometimes for free, sometimes not, to get a key in order to access data. You can add other keys like the latitude and the longitude, and we're excluding data here so that we're not getting minutely data, just because we don't need to handle every single minute for the next few hours, which this API is able to do. We just don't need that kind of data for the sake of this. And so, in Python, you would put in a URL like this, and ask it to get the data, and convert. You'd get all of this data at the bottom, or Python would get all of this data, and it would decode it and put it in a way that it understands by using the JSON module, and then you'll be able to use that data. It looks scary, but yeah, with the right software, it can be a lot less intimidating. And you can just sort of glide through it and just go, right, I want the current data, so I'm going to need to access the current object, which you do by, again, if X is all of the data, so I've lost it now. We're setting X to the whole file, so that is literally everything that you see in here. All of that is saved under X, all 1,400 lines of it. And then, back to my Python. You can set a little bit of it to be current, a current variable, so we're just going to get the current object, which is only, get back up here, way back up here, just this little bit there. There's one more thing that we're going to do to finish us off today, and that is putting an image in our tkinter, just to give a bit of an overview of what we're looking at exactly. Now, that's the wrong window. I want this one. Now, we're going to create a variable called icon, and that is going to go to the API data, into the current object, and into the weather array, and inside of that we're going to get the first, and in this case only, object in the array. So that will be 0. I'll show you that in a second. And we're going to get the icon value, which is 04D. So that's a file name essentially. So again, we're setting the variable as icon, again into the current object, and then into the weather object, which actually is an array. We're getting the first item in the array, which is why it's a 0, because again, in programming you're counting from 0, so 0 is 1, and 1 is 2, and 2 is 3, and so on. And we're getting the icon object, or the icon value, the value of, I don't know why all my messages are suddenly coming through. Phone, stop it, calm down. Yeah, you get all the value of the icon, and the icon URL. So go to open weather map API, and it's going to put in whatever value is being given, and the .png, and then we're going to essentially download it, using the URL lib module. I can never say that. And so it's going to get this data, we're going to get the file, and open it up and read the raw data, so that read its pixels and its the bits, all the bits of the file as our raw data, we're going to encode it. You don't really have to understand what all of this bit is doing, but essentially we're putting it in a way that tkinter can then read and then display. And we're going to display that image at these coordinates on the window. So now again, if we run it, I got an error. And this error says there's no attribute request. Uh-oh. It worked for me earlier. Nope. Apparently that won't let us. Unbelievable. Okay, it works on a different file for some reason. Maybe I need to try import and request again, just to see if it works. Import request. No, that's not record. Good. It's called request, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. We unfortunately some of us can't get that module to work. But yeah, you can see that we're able to import this. Come on, stop mucking about. Right, there we go. So we've got our little cloud, as it were, because it's cloudy in London apparently. Yeah. Is everyone clear on today? I know we went through a lot very quickly. Is there anything I can explain better? No? Alright then. That brings us to the end of today. I'm sorry that today was a bit of a rush. Alright. Are there any questions about Python at all? Anything that I can answer? Whether it's about this course or about Python in general, I can try and help you with that. Alright, if not, we will finish up there. Keep active on Discord, because that is when we'll next announce our next cohort and our other courses. We'll also be starting the Disability Writers Group on Script Camp and WordCamp, two of our sister servers for writing. So we will send the links closer to the time. And yeah, have a wonderful time, everyone.